Hello, welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. My name is Robert Foisey. I'm the director of 15 Minutes of Fame, and today we are bringing to you a great show. Last year we put out a call for the clarinetist and hichiriki player Thomas Piercy, and we put out an open call to write pieces for either instrument, to submit them, and hopefully get picked for 15 Minutes of Fame. We got enough pieces that Tom was so excited that we made two sets. The first was clarinet, which we played last year, and this set is all about the hichiriki. 15 Minutes of Fame is 15 one-minute works, so each piece is about a minute long, all written specifically for the musician that we call for, in this case Thomas. But there are 15 different composers that have all written for this project. We'll have some videos of those composers later on, and we have a few who will be joining us live as well. Listen closely. If you have any questions and so forth, we would love to answer them for you during this performance. Meanwhile, why don't we start with a little music? Eric. How's it going, man?
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, so I want to welcome Eric Branch. Eric is no stranger to 15 Minutes of Fame. Uh, yeah, Eric, you've written a bunch of 1 minute pieces for this project.
I have.
So Eric, why don't you tell us, where you're from, a little bit about, who you are, where you are.
Oh, well, I'm originally from New York City. I attended Hunter College. That's where my degrees are from. I studied with composition with Myron Fink and Arthur Harris there. I studied voice with Russell Oberlin, and I studied piano with Marcia Eckert, who I believe has been at least in one of the Composer's Voice concerts. I currently live near Orlando. I'm a pianist, a composer, music director, opera singer, and an actor. Not all at the same time. Mostly music these days.
And so tell us a little bit about this. Well, first of all, why write for the hichiriki?
Well, I've never written for the hichiriki before. Now, unlike the call for Portuguese guitar a few years back,
Mm-hmm.
I did actually know what the hichiriki was and had heard it because when I was doing my master's thesis, my in composition, my piece was a setting of the Pillow Book of Seishonagon, which is a famous Japanese classic, and I read the William Malm book and other books at that time, so I did know what the instrument was, but I didn't know very much about its technique until I read the article on Thomas's website.
Yeah, I guess I should mention that too. For the call that we did, we pointed to Thomas Piercy's website. He has a great sort of dialogue and videos and just a great description of the hichiriki for all those who are interested in the instrument. I definitely advise everybody.
Indeed, I
Check
mean,
it
it's
out.
not something you're going to find in Adler or Kennan.
No. And so tell us a little bit about your piece that you wrote for Tom.
Okay, well, as I was discussing this with Thomas before, apparently Ruzuka no Uta, which means tribal song, does have a cultural meaning in Japan. I did not know of it when I selected the title. The thing that was sort of the what is the word I'm looking for? The generating idea was I had been doing some research for a project, and I listened to some chants of the Apsaraka people, the Crow people, and there was this one little phrase that stuck in my head. It was, just a few notes, and that's sort of what became the beginning. What became the genesis. That was the word I was looking for. Genesis of this piece. I mean, if you listen to it, you probably wouldn't recognize it, but the inflections of the very beginning sort of were the starting point, and then I just, developed it from there.
Wow. Well, let's see if we can hear it. And let's play. Bring on Tom.
Hello, my name is Paul Dice. I'm from Minnesota in the United States, and I've always been fascinated with the music from other cultures. Several years ago, I had the great opportunity of studying with Lou Harrison, who taught me how to write for Chinese instruments and Javanese gamelan, and I've had great fun doing that. But last year, Thomas Piercy gave us all a couple opportunities to write for the Japanese hichiriki. The Japanese hichiriki is an instrument I did not know existed, and it's from a culture that I had yet to study the music from. I call my piece Opening New Doors, but I still feel as if I'm at the very beginning of peeking out the door to see what opportunities lie beyond. I'm very excited about writing other pieces for hichiriki in the future. Opening New Doors is just my second piece. And I want to thank Thomas Piercy for his kind and encouraging mentorship. And I also want to thank Robert for all the hard work he has done putting together and presenting 15 Minutes of Fame, and also so many other wonderful opportunities for composers from all over the world. So thank you both. Enjoy the piece.
No video or anything for next.
Hello, I am Luigi Morleo. Sorry, but my English is not very good. I have my daughter Elisabetta. She will explain my composition.
So, Ridistribuire No Alright is a composition for hichiriki dedicated to Thomas Piercy, and it's a part of a very large project consisting of 8 compositions relating to the 8 R's of the philosophical thought of the contemporary philosopher Serge Latouche. Serge Latouche's 8 R's explain how it's possible to have a sustainable future for a series of concepts that redistribute economic and social ideas for a better future for our planet. Thank you, Thomas Piercy, for choosing his composition, and we wish you a good listening.
Thank you and good listening.
Point and shoot.
Hello everyone, this is Bilir, and thank you for coming for this wonderful performance of Thomas Piercy by the composition. I would like to read something very quickly because I don't want this introduction to take more than the actual music, which is a very short, blurred genre and affective moment. Hello world, Bilir here. You're a huge musical composition, unfolding around us ceaselessly. We are simultaneously your audience, your performers, and your composers, as Mary Shepard wrote. We are separate but all together. Whichever place in this imaginary universe you stand, the violent resonances are slow and silent. Life first gave birth to suffering, then the universe. Enjoy.
You can send your music. Oh, the sound. This is the one with the sound effects.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Life. First gave birth to suffering. Then the universe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Rob, for including my piece in tonight's performance of 15 Minutes of Fame. I feel very honored to be one of the 15 composers chosen for tonight's performance. I wasn't quite sure how to go about saying a little bit about myself, but it made me imagine being like an explorer. And if I were an explorer, I might talk about, oh, the penguins I've encountered, or describe polar bears, or ice caps, or blizzards. Or I might just talk about the feeling of reaching the North Pole, or imagining reaching the North Pole and standing on a spot where every direction you travel is south. That's a little bit how I might describe my musical life. It will always be a quest. One of the thoughts going through my mind when I wrote this piece for Thomas was an image of childhood stories where the hichiriki suddenly comes to life and jumps out of Thomas's hands and starts playing of its own accord excitedly, and then hops or dances away, maybe laughing. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you again for creating this opportunity and allowing me to be a part of it. And I look forward to catching up and seeing it later on. Good night.
I am Alian Aradam from Westerly, Rhode Island. It's a real honor and pleasure to be part of this concert and have my piece performed by Thomas Piercy on the hichiriki. I compose for a variety of styles and ensembles, from opera to electronic music, and I'm using a lot of avant-garde techniques sometimes, and inversely, sounds such as the organum from older techniques of the past. I like to combine word and poetry, sometimes literally, and sometimes just as a source of inspiration. For this piece in particular, Seed of Hope, the timbre of the hichiriki was a source of inspiration, but the range was a fruitful limitation. I was inspired in particular to compose for a Seed of Hope because of a book that I read on social justice and sustainability, a book by Wangari Maathai, Unbowed, where she talks about planting trees and planting seeds for hope and for sustainability. Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be part of this program today. My name is Ronaldo Ramay, and I would like to tell you a little bit about myself and about my piece today. Born and raised in Trinidad, I hold the world record for fastest piano arpeggios, and awaiting confirmation for breaking a second world record, the longest marathon playing bass. I won the National Guitar Competition Guitar Awards and have been featured on Synergy TV, OMG Magazine, and was the first on Trinidad's #1 television channel TV6 at prime time, performing a 9-minute virtuosic guitar solo. Work-wise, I've been teaching music for 15 years and composed music for the TV show Diversification, Not Just Talk. I graduated at the top of my class at bachelor's and master's degree study, receiving a distinction in music composition at the University of Manchester, where I won the Proctor Gregg Prize for Excellence in Music Composition and a full scholarship for PhD study, of which I am deeply grateful. My piece today, titled Hichiriki in Continuous Acceleration, explores the concept of time as a moving canvas, where music is metaphorically painted onto a canvas that is not stationary. The musical material is written to continuously accelerating musical measures in such that the tempo appears to not come to a conclusion until the end. It is my hope that combining such a concept with hichiriki music will produce an innovative piece never before heard. I would like to extend my deepest thanks, respect and gratitude to Thomas for performing my piece, to Robert and 15 Minutes of Fame for this amazing opportunity, to my fellow composers, and to my viewers here today. Thank you all so much.
And I'd like to bring on next Michael Coleman. Mike, how you doing?
Doing good, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I always love coming down to Hell's Kitchen and doing a little private. It's a private performance for me. I'm hanging out in his apartment doing his recording. It's pretty awesome.
Well,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just about to say, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what type of stuff do you do?
Well, I'm originally not far from where I live right now, Fairhope, Alabama. I got degrees at South Alabama University of New Orleans and University of Maryland. Studied with Carl Ouellette, Jerry Sieg, and Lawrence Moss. And currently I'm in Pensacola, and I teach at Pensacola State College and University of West Florida. And my wife, Akari Onulbaeva, is a Steinway artist, and we have a daughter, and Malika, and Zach, son-in-law, and a granddaughter, Dorothy. This would be exciting if Dorothy was in the room.
And what motivated you to write for Thomas Piercy and hichiriki?
I was actually just curious about the instrument. I sort of knew what it was, and it was a great opportunity. And thanks, Thomas, for including me. It's a real honor to be on 15 Minutes of Fame. But I wanted to learn a little bit about it, and there was just something about the sound of the instrument. I don't know. It's nothing other than I was sort of hearing the instrument outside, And for some reason, I was just sort of seeing an image of walking near the edge of a ravine, just looking at the scenery and pausing, looking around, and just maybe watch where you step, I guess. So it's really not much more than that. It was just something about the sound of the instrument just gave me that, I don't know, idea or impression, I guess.
Sure. And you know what? Why don't we listen to your piece and see how it comes to fruition?
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Hello, Douglas.
Rob.
You know, another
Veteran.
person, veteran. Yes,
Veteran.
It's not any stranger to 15 Minutes of Fame. Not that everyone that we have live today has actually been in 15 Minutes of Fame before. Mike Coleman, you know, he just had his piece played by Craig Hultgren last year, too, as you did as well, the pataphysics.
Yes. But it turns out that I was on the very first 15 Minutes of Fame.
You were.
I was. I don't think there's a recording of it or anything, is there? But I was on. It was Shawen playing piano. Your birthday concert. I remember that. And it's been about 1,000 since. And it's been great. It's been amazing.
You were the one that was the sort of kernel of all of that to push that forward. So Douglas DaSilva is artistic director for Composer's Voice for many, many years. And I had decided to do a birthday concert for my 40th birthday. Anyway,
it was just such a great idea. It was just, let's do it again. And we did it again and again and again. And it's been so many years.
Yeah, we've done 15 Minutes of Fame. It's almost, I think it's over 80 different musicians and ensembles. I've picked more than 1,000 composers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. So anyway, Douglas, talking a little bit, you and me, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Well, what I do, I'm Mr. Doug. I work with kids, and I teach music to little kids. I actually teach karate to little kids too now. And so I usually spend my lack of free time composing chamber music. I even have tried to perform myself. I used to play with the Columbia University Gagaku ensemble, which featured a hichiriki player named Thomas Piercy. And so I used to run over to Columbia University after work and put my kid underneath the piano on some jackets, and he'd fall asleep and he'd listen to this great Gagaku music. And I really, Tom was always there first, and as you're walking down the hall, you'd hear Tom playing hichiriki. So I've heard it a lot. I've been scared to write for it, and it's an intimidating little thing. It's got a lot of power, and it's got a lot of beauty, and it's got a lot of tradition. And I guess when I went to write this piece, my biggest fear my biggest goal was to not write Etonaraku, which is a Gagaku piece, just because that was always in my head. so that's where I presented this little piece called Hell's Kitchen and Little Black Dots. And one more thing, thank you for moving the concert from Carnegie Hall to Hell's Kitchen to match my title. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So so for everybody who's looking in the background, that's New York City. All the little white dots, in the back of the black dots that Tom is playing. But with all that, why don't we hear those DaSilva's piece? Hold.
You're about to listen to my piece, Wind Flow. My name is Vriend. I'm based in the UK. I have written music for recorders, flute, bass clarinet, reed quintet, strings, reed organ, piano and choir. And I'm studying composition with Alexander Kamkin. I'm so glad that my piece for hichiriki has been selected by Thomas Piercy for his 15 Minutes of Fame. Now, about my piece. I had never written anything for Japanese instruments before. I really enjoyed the challenge to find out a lot about this instrument, about the flexibility of the sound, finding out about the possibilities and looking at traditional Japanese ornaments that are played on the hichiriki. I looked at fingerings, all that. I mean, mentally, I don't have a hichiriki. I'm very interested in folk music, but also in early music, also in contemporary music, and I'm keen to use ideas or techniques from one into the other. Like, for instance, using traditional Japanese ornaments into contemporary music for hichiriki. Wind Flow is a painting of sounds of the wind passing by. It's just a moment in time, necessarily short, of course, 1 minute, but enough to make an impression on the listener. I hope you enjoy my piece. And thank you, Thomas, very much for playing my piece. And also thank you so much, Robert, for organizing these opportunities. Thank you.
great performance. We bring everybody onto screen. Hi, everybody. I
Hello.
That I was a little bit. Is that better? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That was our 15 works for hichiriki, and let's see if we can get. So I'll be in the background. I'll pan back and forth between me and Tom, but hold on. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
And just so you know, that's the camera.
They're seeing,
there you
okay,
go.
because I can't see anyone. I just wanted to say, well, thank you to all the composers, and a sort of separate special thanks to Douglas DaSilva and Rob Bossi when they invited me many years ago to do the first, for me, 15 Minutes of Fame. And it was clarinet and piano, and it was part of the theme was a Japanese perspective, so Nihon no Shiten. And I think that was 2011 or 2012, and then I think a year later or half a year later switched it where I had composers New York perspective, so New York no Shiten. And that started my journey into my project of Tokyo to New York, which now we have played over 250 pieces, the premieres of over 200, and everything from solo clarinet, solo hichiriki, and it grew until last month in Bangkok played the world's first hichiriki concerto. So a big thank you to, I'll point this way because I can't see where Doug is, there. Big thank you Douglas and Rob for starting the 15 Minutes of Fame, and many of these composers, because I think I've done maybe 5 or 6 of them, and quite a few composers that I have met from these 1-minute pieces, started working with, and longer pieces, including the recent concerto I met by Masato Goya. And I met him from he did answered the call for 15 Minutes of Fame. So thank you guys for the growth of all of this wonderful stuff, and it's a great way to meet so many composers. And if
thank you.
If I don't like the composer or the piece, it doesn't matter. It's 1 minute, and we move along. And that's also true for the audience, I think. If you don't like what you're hearing, it's okay. Maybe someone does, and we're moving on to the next piece right after that.
Oh, yes. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Thomas, for not just for picking my piece, but for doing this in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm saying this right now because last time I got thrown off StreamYard during the discussion, so I want to get everything in. And thank you to Rob also for putting this together, and Douglas, whom I'm hearing for the first time. He's hitherto been an email and Facebook presence.
Yes, that's.
Do you guys have any comments for Tom?
Yes. I mean, I loved how the piece was played. The thing that really struck me is, people might say, "Oh, this is an unusual sounding instrument," but it's so vocal.
Yes.
The inflections, the timbre, it's very, very, what is the word I'm looking for? Plangent.
Yes. That's one of the vocal quality is one of the things I like most about the instrument. I mean, it has a very short range, especially compared to the other instrument, clarinet, that I play, which is a huge range. But that vocal quality and the inflections that you can do with this instrument, my favorite thing about it.
Oh, yes.
It was an amazing concert, Thomas. And I think the way you brought the ideas of each of the composers, what they were trying to convey, and all sorts of different things they were trying to convey was just off the charts. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bravo.
Bravo. Yes.
Yeah, bravo.
Yes. Yeah.
And just to mention to anybody who's to everyone who's listening out there, if you have a question for Thomas or any of the composers, feel free to just type it in the comments. I'm just right now. I'm just going through some of the excellent. We just got a whole slew of comments from people from all over. Thank you so much. It's So what do you guys think about like this format? So as we were talking about, there's been a lot of performances of 15 Minutes of Fame over the year. We most of the performances happened in New York City, in chamber concerts and churches here. What do you guys think of this format now online?
I like it. I mean, it's yes, it has challenges, but it works well, especially this relatively small instrumentation. It's easier than getting together an ensemble performance, for instance.
Right. Tom and I have talked about this over a lot. Is just the the fact of being able to connect so many different composers from around the world is also advantageous to us. When we have the concerts, obviously we want as many people to come to physically as they can, but 15 Minutes of Fame, we get pieces from composers from around the world. It's just not feasible to travel to New York for that 1 minute and stuff. So that's the other great part of it. Anything else?
Yeah, I was just your comment about playing all these different styles of pieces. That's one thing I like about doing these 15 Minutes of Fame. It can be a little difficult when you switch from one piece to one piece to one piece, especially when they have so many different styles. And it was interesting for me with these pieces for hichiriki, when I would look at them and see, okay, this composer is really trying to make it sound like gagaku, traditional Japanese music. And other composers like Erik Branches, which is more of called it a tribal song, but there's this dance quality to it, which is not played very often with hichiriki, because it's not that easy to do, but it was nice that one of these came with such a rhythmic piece. And then the one that had me singing, flutter-tonguing, and playing long notes and short notes on it, which I have sang and on hichiriki and played it at the same time. Let's see. So that's not so difficult. But then he wanted me to flutter tongue and sing and play at the same time. I'm not so sure it was successful. He did put a comment that he liked the performance, but again, it's such a traditional instrument. It's not been used in contemporary music that much. So composers write these things, and it's nice for me to try to meet the challenge to increase what the instrument is capable of. So thank you, composers, for keep stretching me. And occasionally I do tell a composer that it is not possible. Something like Flight of the Bumblebee with those half steps, that's not going to work on the hichiriki. But these other sort of techniques, it's nice for me to try to stretch myself and try to meet what you're writing. So it was nice to have 15 pieces to discover each composer's sound world. So thank you.
And you know what, Tom? You bring up a really interesting point. And let me ask you this, especially, did you find any difference or any similarities compared to this particular call and the pieces that you received compared to, works that you got for clarinet, or when you were doing, clarinet, piano, and so forth? Did you feel like you got different types of pieces, or the composers, what was sort of the...
Different, yes, because I think most of these composers, I could see immediately when I saw their pieces that they had listened to hichiriki or gone to my site to see where I explain what works and what doesn't. So especially the techniques that are very easy on the hichiriki, with these scoops that you can go a fifth or a sixth up and all of this that you can't really do on the clarinet. You can do those scoops, they're not as clean, or the width of them. So that is certainly different. I think some of these that were very idiomatic as far as classical or traditional Japanese music, that's certainly different than what someone would write me for clarinet, with these big long fermatos, which I love, and then the space between phrases, which in Japanese is called ma, where that silence between the notes is as important as the notes. And I saw where some of these composers obviously put it in there. And some of it, it's just a quarter rest. But because I knew that was their sound world, I knew they wanted ma. They wanted this silence, this space. And so in that sense, it's different. And it was nice that I got pieces that, for the most part, were written for the hichiriki. I've had composers send me pieces that looked like a clarinet piece. Chromatic runs and, this fast tonguing and stuff. That it just doesn't happen on this. So it was nice to have. So in that way, it is different, but it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Well, everybody, I want to thank you all for being part of this, and thank you, Tom. First of all, you're a true inspiration to write for. Every time that we work together, it just I look forward to every part of the project, and I just want to thank you and for introducing the hichiriki to so many composers. So we had that little master class,
Right,
over the summer, which was nice, and some of the composers that participated got selected for this 15 minutes, which is great.
Well, thank you because Rob asked me to do a 15 minutes thing for solo clarinet, and I said, could I include hichiriki? And he said, sure. So it was great. And then that's where it was great, when enough pieces and enough good pieces that could split it up into two. So thank you. Some people are a little hesitant about the hichiriki, but I'm glad that there's people interested. And I just saw a message on here that a composer would have liked pieces to be longer. This is called 15 minutes, a famous 1 minute, that is the thing. But I agree, for some of these pieces, that 1 minute was absolutely perfect. Everything was in there. Quite a few of them, when I got to the end, or actually like I'm in the middle of it, and I see the end, I'm like, oh, no, I want more. Which is better than the other way around of, Jesus, I wish this was over. So it's nice that people want longer pieces. And if you are watching and you want to write a longer piece for hichiriki, please do so.
Maybe we'll even try to do a little call on the side here for Composer's Voice. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom, thanks for getting me over my fear of hichiriki.
Your piece, I could tell. I mean, you've been playing in Columbia Gagaku a couple of years ago. I know with COVID we haven't been able to meet, but it was so obvious you knew what you were doing, you knew what was possible with hichiriki, and it was incredibly idiomatic and fun to play.
Well, thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah.
Watch my head swell. Thanks a lot, Tom. I really appreciate that.
Well,
Gentlemen, pleasure meeting you. Pleasure seeing you.
Likewise.
Great to see you guys.
Eric, like I said, I think I've known you for so many years. So
very true.
Yeah, great. Your music sounded awesome. I really appreciate it.
As did yours.
Thanks a lot.
Yours, Mike, too.
And I'll see you guys at the.
All of you were great.
I'll see you at the next one.
Hope to meet you guys sometime.
Likewise.
Yeah, enjoy.
I have only actually been to one of the 15 Minutes of Fame in person. The one that was in Lakeland, the Liana Valente.
don't move your computer in the middle of stream.
we were all just saying goodbye.
And I'd just like to say one thing. Watashi no tomodachi Nihonjin, my friends in Tokyo, ohayou gozaimasu, thanks for joining, and yokoso New York.
Sayonara.
Great. Well, again, thank you everybody, and I mean, you know, that's definitely my cue that we should be exiting. Also want to thank you know, virtual concert halls for you know, helping us bring you know, these concerts alive and out there to everybody. You know, there's all this you know, infrastructure in the back that's going and producing and presenting and calls for works, and there's just you know, I mean, it's just you know, there's a lot going on. So I want to thank all of them and bring up here we go. And so thank you all again for participating, and I look forward to joining you, you know, for our next 15 Minutes of Fame. We have 15 Minutes of Fame coming up with Bone for the toy piano, another great instrument to hear, and we also have a call. Anybody who's interested in writing, we have a call out for harp solo with Daniel Kuntz, and you know, she is going to be something for everyone to write for, I guarantee you. Again, thank you all for participating. I look forward to seeing you soon.